Commander Vral of the Krinox Empire sat in the command chair of his flagship, the Dominator, staring out at the vastness of space. His eyes, cold and calculating, were fixed on the distant blue planet that his empire had marked for conquest. Earth, a world populated by a relatively young species, had piqued the interest of the Krinox for its rich resources and strategic location in the galaxy. The invasion plan was simple: strike fast, overwhelm the defenses, and claim the planet for the Empire. The Krinox Empire had a long history of subjugating weaker species, expanding its territories with little resistance. Vral was no stranger to these conquests. He had led countless fleets to victory, crushing any opposition with ruthless efficiency. He fully expected Earth to be another easy victory, a mere formality before adding another jewel to the Empire's crown. As the fleet approached Earth's orbit, Vral's confidence was unshaken. His ships, sleek and deadly, were armed with the most advanced technology the Krinox had to offer. Each vessel was equipped with energy cannons capable of vaporizing cities and shields that could withstand the harshest of attacks. The humans, he thought, would have no chance against such overwhelming firepower. But as the Krinox fleet moved closer, something unexpected happened. A massive holographic projection appeared in the skies over Earth, clearly visible from space. It was a message, written in bold, unyielding letters: "Welcome to your last mistake." Vral narrowed his eyes at the message, his confidence momentarily shaken. He had not anticipated this level of defiance from a species he considered inferior. His officers exchanged uneasy glances, sensing the commander's displeasure. The message wasn't just a taunt. It was a warning, one that hinted at a level of preparedness that Vral hadn't accounted for. "Ignore their bluff," Vral commanded, his voice icy. "Prepare for the assault. We will crush their defenses and make them regret their arrogance." The fleet moved into position, weapons primed and ready to strike. But as they breached Earth's atmosphere, something was different. The planet's defense systems activated with a speed and precision that caught the Krinox forces off guard. Massive energy beams shot up from the surface, targeting the Krinox ships with pinpoint accuracy. Several ships were hit before they could even fire a shot, their shields struggling to hold under the unexpected onslaught. Vral watched in growing frustration as his fleet began to suffer losses. This was not how the invasion was supposed to go. He had underestimated the humans, and now they were paying the price for his overconfidence. But he was not one to back down easily. The battle had only just begun, and he would do whatever it took to claim victory, no matter the cost. The Krinox assault began with a ferocity that was meant to intimidate and overwhelm. Waves of sleek, black ships descended from the skies, their energy cannons glowing with destructive power. Commander Vral watched from his command chair aboard the Dominator, confident that Earth's defenses would crumble within moments. But what happened next was something he hadn't anticipated. As the Krinox ships closed in on their targets, Earth's defense systems roared to life. The planet was surrounded by an intricate network of satellites and orbital defense platforms, each armed with advanced weaponry. These were not the crude, outdated technologies that Vral had expected. Instead, they were sophisticated and precise, targeting the Krinox ships with deadly accuracy. Pulses of energy, faster than anything the Krinox had encountered before, lanced out from the surface and from the defense platforms, striking the invaders with pinpoint accuracy. One by one, the mighty Krinox ships began to falter under the unyielding pressure of Earth's defenses. These vessels, once proud symbols of the Krinox Empire's dominance, had weathered countless battles across the galaxy, their shields holding strong against all manner of attacks. Yet, now, in the face of humanity's relentless and coordinated barrage, those same shields began to flicker and fail. The energy beams and missiles that had been designed to protect the Krinox armada were no match for the advanced technology and strategic precision that Earth's forces unleashed upon them. Each hit sent shockwaves through the ships, straining their systems to the breaking point. The once impenetrable barriers crumbled under the sustained assault, leaving the Krinox ships vulnerable to the devastating firepower of their adversaries. As the shields failed, the destruction that followed was swift and merciless. Explosions erupted across the sky, painting the heavens with fiery bursts of light as the Krinox ships were torn apart, their mighty hulls splitting open like fragile shells. The remains of these once formidable vessels, now nothing more than twisted metal and debris, plummeted towards the earth, burning through the atmosphere like deadly comets. The sight was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, a testament to the ferocity of the battle. The Krinox, who had embarked on this mission with confidence and arrogance, expecting little more than token resistance, now found themselves caught in a desperate struggle for survival. The tables had turned, and the invaders, once so certain of their superiority, were now fighting not for conquest, but for their very lives. In the midst of this chaos, Captain Harris, the leader of Earth's defense forces, directed the counterattack from the command center, deep within a fortified base. Harris was a veteran of many battles, having fought in the defense of Earth against other threats in the past. But this was different. The Krinox were the most advanced enemy humanity had ever faced, and yet Harris knew that they could not afford to lose. Earth's survival depended on their ability to stand firm. Harris's strategy was one of coordination and precision. He ordered the deployment of stealth drones, small, agile craft that could evade the Krinox sensors and deliver devastating strikes to key targets. These drones, equipped with the latest in electromagnetic weaponry, slipped past the Krinox defenses and began picking off their ships one by one. The Krinox, unable to track these elusive attackers, found themselves increasingly vulnerable. On the ground, Earth's surface-to-air defenses were no less formidable. Massive railguns, hidden within mountains and deep underground bunkers, unleashed their fury on the invaders. These weapons, powered by the immense energy generated by Earth's fusion reactors, sent projectiles hurtling towards the sky at hypersonic speeds. The Krinox ships, despite their advanced technology, struggled to avoid the incoming fire. As the battle raged on, Commander Vral's frustration grew. He had underestimated the humans, and now his fleet was paying the price. His once mighty armada was being torn apart by a species he had dismissed as insignificant. But retreat was not an option, not for a commander of his standing. He would push forward, no matter the cost, determined to break Earth's defenses and claim victory. But Earth's forces, united in their determination to protect their home, fought with a tenacity that Vral had never seen before. Every Krinox ship that fell only strengthened their resolve. Humanity, against all odds, was proving to be a formidable opponent, one that would not go down without a fight. The skies above Earth were a maelstrom of fire and metal as the battle reached its full intensity. Commander Vral, refusing to accept the idea of defeat, ordered his remaining forces to regroup and launch a concentrated assault. The Krinox fleet, though battered, still possessed significant firepower. Vral intended to use every last resource at his disposal to break through Earth's defenses. Krinox ships began to reform their lines, their sleek forms maneuvering with precision as they prepared for a renewed attack. Vral's command echoed through the fleet: concentrate all firepower on their defense platforms and command centers. We will crush their coordination and leave them vulnerable. The Krinox vessels unleashed a devastating barrage of energy beams and missile salvos aimed at Earth's critical defense structures. Explosions rippled across the sky as some of the platforms and satellites succumbed to the overwhelming firepower. The Earth defenders, however, were far from defeated. Captain Harris, aware of the Krinox's strategy, had anticipated such a move. He had prepared Earth's defenses for a sustained conflict, knowing that the Krinox would not give up easily. As the Krinox focused their fire, Harris activated reserve forces that had been held back for this exact moment. Additional waves of drones were deployed, this time accompanied by advanced fighter squadrons piloted by the best Earth had to offer. These human pilots, trained for years to face the unknown, engaged the Krinox ships in close combat, using the debris of the battle as cover. The Krinox, who were used to dominating from a distance with their superior firepower, were caught off guard by the sudden shift to close quarters combat. The human fighters, more agile and maneuverable in the dense battlefield, darted around the larger Krinox vessels, exploiting every vulnerability. Despite their losses, the Krinox continued their relentless assault, with Commander Vral at the helm, directing every move with cold determination. But the humans were not fighting alone. Earth's military had deployed a series of orbital defense platforms armed with AI-controlled cannons, capable of tracking and targeting multiple enemy ships simultaneously. These platforms, once passive, now came to life, creating a deadly crossfire that began to decimate the Krinox fleet. On the ground, Earth's surface-to-air defense systems intensified their efforts, launching waves of hypersonic projectiles that tore through the Krinox ranks. Vral's forces were caught in a deadly pincer, being hammered from above and below, with no safe place to retreat. Each explosion marked another loss for the Krinox, each flash of light another ship gone. As the battle wore on, the toll on both sides became apparent. The skies were filled with the wreckage of countless ships, and the once clear atmosphere was now a chaotic storm of debris and fire. Yet, even as the Krinox continued to fight with ruthless efficiency, the tide of the battle was slowly turning against them. Humanity's coordinated efforts, coupled with their advanced tactics and technology, were proving too much for the Krinox to handle. Commander Vral, watching the battle unfold from the bridge of the Dominator, began to realize the full extent of the situation. His fleet, once invincible, was now being torn apart by a species he had dismissed as inferior. The humans had proven themselves to be far more resilient and resourceful than he had ever imagined. Despite his best efforts, Vral could see that the battle was slipping away from him. But retreat was not in his nature. He would push forward, continue to fight, even as the odds grew increasingly grim. Earth was putting up a fight like no other, and Vral was determined to see it through to the bitter end, no matter the cost. The battle above Earth had reached a fever pitch. Both sides had suffered heavy losses, but neither was willing to yield. Commander Vral, driven by pride and desperation, ordered his remaining forces to concentrate all their firepower on breaking through Earth's defenses. He knew that victory was slipping away, but he was determined to make one final push. The Krinox fleet, though greatly diminished, still had enough firepower to cause devastating damage. Vral commanded his ships to target Earth's most critical defense installations, hoping to cripple the human resistance. The Krinox ships, now operating with the desperation of a cornered predator, unleashed everything they had: massive energy beams, missile barrages, and relentless fighter assaults. The sky above Earth was a blazing inferno of destruction. Captain Harris, observing the enemy's desperation, recognized that this was the moment they had been waiting for. The Krinox, now fully committed, had exposed themselves in their attempt to break through. Harris knew that the key to victory lay in turning the Krinox's own aggression against them. Harris ordered his forces to tighten their formation and focus on precision strikes. The human fleet, which had held its reserves in check, now moved into action. The orbital defense platforms, which had sustained damage earlier in the battle, were repaired and reactivated. AI-controlled cannons locked onto the Krinox ships, their targeting systems working in tandem to create a deadly web of crossfire. The human fighters, piloted by the most skilled and experienced pilots Earth had to offer, weaved through the chaos, picking off Krinox ships with deadly accuracy. The drones, too, played a crucial role, their stealth capabilities allowing them to bypass enemy defenses and strike at vulnerable points. The Krinox, unable to adapt to the sheer variety and coordination of Earth's forces, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the tide had turned. The Krinox ships, once feared across the galaxy, were now being torn apart. Vral watched in disbelief as his fleet was decimated, ship after ship falling to the relentless human assault. His command ship, the Dominator, took multiple direct hits, its shields flickering under the strain. In a final desperate move, Vral ordered a full retreat. But the human fleet had anticipated this. They had positioned their ships to cut off any escape routes, trapping the Krinox in a deadly encirclement. Vral's ships, now surrounded and outnumbered, were systematically destroyed. The once mighty Krinox fleet was reduced to a handful of battered, fleeing ships. Vral, refusing to surrender, watched as his dreams of conquest crumbled before his eyes. His pride, his empire, everything he had fought for, was being torn away. The humans who he had once dismissed as insignificant had proven to be his greatest challenge. As the Dominator took its final blow, Vral made one last attempt to rally his forces, but it was too late. The battle was over. The Krinox fleet, once a symbol of invincibility, was now nothing more than wreckage scattered across the sky. The turning point had been reached, and it was humanity who stood victorious. The last remnants of the Krinox fleet vanished into the darkness of space, leaving behind a battlefield littered with the wreckage of their once mighty armada. Earth had won, and the cost of that victory was written across the sky in the form of shattered ships and drifting debris. The humans, though exhausted and battered, had triumphed against an enemy that had seemed unbeatable. On the surface of Earth, in a fortified command center deep beneath the ground, Captain Harris stood before a large screen displaying the aftermath of the battle. The tension in the room had finally lifted, replaced by a profound sense of relief and accomplishment. The men and women who had fought tirelessly to protect their world allowed themselves a moment of quiet celebration, exchanging weary smiles and nods of respect. Captain Harris knew the significance of what they had just achieved. Earth, a planet that had long been overlooked by the more advanced civilizations of the galaxy, had just repelled one of the most feared empires in existence. It was a victory that would send shockwaves throughout the cosmos, changing the balance of power in ways that were still impossible to predict. Harris turned to address his crew, his voice steady and filled with pride. Today, we have done more than just defend our home. We have shown the galaxy that humanity is not to be underestimated. We have faced an enemy who thought they could crush us, and we have proven them wrong. This victory belongs to all of us, and it will be remembered for generations to come. The room erupted in cheers, the sound echoing through the command center. The weight of their achievement was beginning to sink in. They had not only survived, but they had emerged stronger, more united, and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Outside, across the cities and towns of Earth, celebrations broke out as news of the victory spread. People gathered in the streets, embracing one another, their faces lit by the glow of fireworks and the remnants of the battle still visible in the sky. The fear that had gripped the planet was now replaced by hope and a renewed sense of purpose. But even in this moment of triumph, Captain Harris knew that their work was not done. The Krinox Empire had been humbled, but they were far from defeated. Earth's victory would surely draw the attention of other powers in the galaxy, some of whom might not view humanity's rise favorably. Preparations would need to be made, alliances forged, and defenses strengthened to ensure that Earth could continue to stand tall in the face of any future threats. Harris looked out through the reinforced windows of the command center, his gaze fixed on the horizon where the first light of dawn was beginning to break. The sky was clearing, the smoke and debris from the battle slowly dissipating, revealing the stars beyond. Earth had won this battle, but Harris knew that the true challenge was just beginning. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy, but they would have to fight to keep it. As the sun rose, casting its golden light across the planet, Captain Harris made his way to the communications room. It was time to address the world, to let them know what they had accomplished, and to prepare them for the future. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for the task ahead, and then began to speak. "People of Earth," he began, his voice carrying the weight of everything they had just endured. "We have faced the darkness, and we have prevailed. Today, we stand as one, united and unbreakable. Let this victory be a message to the galaxy. Humanity is here to stay. We will defend our home, we will protect our future, and we will continue to rise. Together." The message was broadcast across the planet, reaching every corner of the globe. And as the people listened, they knew that they had entered a new era, one where humanity would no longer be seen as a backwater species, but as a force to be reckoned with. Earth had taken its first steps into the broader galaxy, and there was no turning back. The battle had been won, but the journey was just beginning.